Yeah, I thought I'd put a quick video together on how I use eToro within an iPad 12.9 inch, the Pro version, and this is on currently the latest software update with the dock at the bottom. And yeah, everything as far as I know is all up to date, and it should give us a quick good reading. So first of all, we're going to go into the eToro app on here. At the moment I've got it set up in virtual mode, same on Safari. On the eToro app it's pretty hard to navigate. It's the same reading almost as if you've got whatever size iPad, and it's fixed as a very low resolution instead of the high resolution of what we can now get on with Safari. A couple of keyboard shortcuts as well. I've got an external wireless keyboard, just for anyone that does. If you hold the command key, and then you've got shortcuts which will appear on the screen. These change depending on what app you're in, and I find that it's really helpful to jump between different apps very quickly instead of going to the dock. So you hold the command key and press the shift. We're then going to jump to Safari and go into that. So this is what most people get on the basic readout as soon as they open up Safari with eToro. So you've got the new updates, you can run through things. It's pretty much as if you're using a normal web browser. The advantage is, though, you can now run split screen a lot better on a 12.9 inch. I think you can still do it with the 9.7. I used to have one of those before upgrading, and on that, yeah, you can use the split screen, but you don't get all of the extra toys that you can do with the better resolution on this one. So first things first, let's go and look at the portfolio. This screen is the basic setting that I've got it set onto. You can run through all the different ones quite easily by clicking the different readouts. However, there is one which is missing from this resolution, which I think is a real shame, and it's to show you the intraday profit either in the plus or the negative of each item. So on the iPad Pro big one, the 12.9, if you hold down on the portfolio, it'll come up as a separate link. Yeah, drag it over to the left hand side, where then it'll make it into a new window, a new tab. So now we're on split view. Now it'll all run through. Now you can see that it's got all the intraday numbers. On this, it's same as on a phone. You've got cryptocurrency funds, people right near the bottom. Then you've got all the cryptos, followed by the stocks, and then right at the very top is usually commodities, but at the moment in my virtual I'm not running any commodities. We'll go for now down to the, there we go, cryptos. As you might have noticed quickly, I do have a few different traders that I keep an eye on, and quite a few different stocks that I keep an eye on within my virtual to see how everyone's going and everybody's running along, and basically keeping up to date with what they're doing to see if I can implement any of their strategies when they get it better than me, and if I've managed to really outperform them at any particular point, it's so I can then analyze what I've managed to do different. But let's get into the case of setting an order, looking at charts, how to use the split screen. So we've got two which are all independent. We will set it up so that way, let's have a look. I've opened up a few trades to get it so I can show you this better. Let's go for XRP because it's having quite a good day. So for the time being I'm going to leave it like that on the left hand, and then probably the easiest way on this is search it. As you've noticed, the keyboard isn't turning up at the bottom. That's just because I've got my wireless keyboard in. So you got my investment there on the main screen, the analysis, and the chart. Now this is where it gets more interesting. I like running two different screens when I'm about to order something or buy something, so that way on the left hand side I can keep up to date with what I've currently got, on my exposure, and then the right hand side I've got the nice chart. You can zoom in and zoom out by pinching, all pretty simple stuff on anyone that's used an iPad. You've got, I always run it with the candle just to make it that bit easier, and then let's go for a few different bits and pieces. Let's go for different times. I'm going to adjust it to, let's say, the 5-minute chart. So let's have a quick look here. At the moment it's jumping up and down a little bit. It hits its all-time high there. If you use the pointer, you can see now the high for that time period of 5 minutes. It's got the high of 0.26, it's got the low of 0.25, and then it's got the open and close and the date and the time and everything else. And I like using the pointer to get a more accurate figures instead of trying to guess where everything is. So back onto setting up an order. I think for argument's sake it might decline a little bit more. Okay, so if I wanted to open up an order on the sell price of 25.24, at the moment there's about a cent difference between the two, so I'm gonna go for 24.4. So I'm gonna press on the buy, change it over to the order in the top right. I'm gonna change it to 24.4. Nice round figure of 100, and then set order. At the moment you also don't have any leverage. These are only ×1. Once you've done all the extra bits, usually I set it up for maybe a 5%. 5% of 100 is 5. So once that's all programmed in, set the order, and now it's gone. Order placed out, whatever. Let's see the next bit. Let's do some technical analysis. I'm shutting down the left hand one by clicking on the little X. You can still see it on this one where it's got the X on all the different tabs. I'm going to get rid of the analyzer. Let's get back to the end. There we go. Let's draw a couple of trend lines on here. So the third icon from the right on the second row, and well, at the very top of the chart, it's got all the different tools. Now you can see that we've got different things that we can access. In fact, let's use the Pro Charts instead. So click on the little cog, launch Pro Charts. Now, just so everyone knows, if you try and now go through eToro on this tab, it will mess you up. You will end up getting stuck in the Pro Charts. You have to close down the tab to then get back to the single chart display. Otherwise you'll end up with lots of them. On the iPad Pro you can run charts up and down on top of each other horizontally, or you can do it vertically. Usually I always prefer horizontally. So you can save different layouts. Unfortunately at the minute the resolution on the iPad Pro doesn't allow you even more charts. I'm trying to get it so that way it will, but trying very hard as I might, I'm going to end up buying external displays and giving it a go on them. So I'm going to add in another one at the bottom. So I've selected the Pro Chart at the bottom, which you can see now it's on the blue outline. So that's the top, that's the bottom. I'm going to search for Bitcoin. So let's add that into it. So there you go. All of a sudden you've got the both on the same time scale. Let's go for the 4 hours though instead. And the 4 hours, let's see what they're up to. See if there's any correlation. Yeah, there's a bit at about 1500 hours. They both started going upwards. At the moment, personally, trying to work out whether Bitcoin is following Ripple or Ripple is following Bitcoin. It's always difficult, but I think Bitcoin will be going up for a while. That's also getting off topic. Trend lines time. So I'm just gonna start randomly drawing lines. So on here we're gonna go to there. Now it gets a bit tricky because you've got the plus and the minus on the zoom in the way. So I've got the crosshairs lined up, I've left them there, I've let go of the screen, and I'm just going to tap anywhere on the screen to start up the first point of the trend line. And now it will go darker on the crosshairs. Then you can pull it upwards, set it up on the next one, hey presto, tap again, and there it is. Yeah, it's all pretty simple stuff when you get to grips with it. Now, to do the Fibonacci, I'm going to scroll out of it because I don't want to get the zoom in, zoom out, and the share button in the way. I'm just picking random points. I know this isn't exactly where. The only problem with the Pro Charts I've found, if you're trying to overlay on similar points, it just doesn't like linking them up. You end up with a big black blob. Let's see if it'll work this time. Yep. No, it hasn't. Let's see. Oh, it's completely vanished. Go back. Fibonacci. Yeah. Let's go to the very top. Yes, I know this isn't all accurate, but there we go. You can see there now that it's all linked in. Yeah. I find that it's pretty useful doing cross comparison between the two. You can also compare it within yourself as well. So let's say on the Bitcoin chart now, I'm going to put more than one thing on it. Let's search for me. That's if it'll turn up. There are still a few bugs in the Pro Charts, but if you do it right, it'll actually turn up. There we go. So on the bottom chart now, you can see that I've outperformed Bitcoin through certain parts of the month. At the moment, it is slightly down just on the past 4 hours. Let's change it to 1 day. Let's see if they've fixed that bug. There we go. Yeah, there we go. So you can see on, if you analyze the bottom chart, how it nicely links in where Bitcoin, as it's going up, it pushes it upwards. I've still got a fair amount with Bitcoin, and at the moment I'm not hedging, so its volatility really affects my profile a lot of the time, but I like to keep it going. So let's see, we'll now close down the Pro Charts. That's enough of that, and back on to normal. You've got newsfeed. I'm trying to think of anything nice and easy that else we can do on the Pro Chart, on the iPad Pro. Oh, dragging, multitasking from the side. There, I've just done it where you used to split the screen. Now you can pull it a different app sideways. You just grab it, hold of the top little tab on the extra to move it from one side to another, and it'll flick. That's actually notes. If you want to get it completely off, you just swing it over to the right and it goes away. If you want to add something else, let's say I want to add mail, you just hold on, drag it upwards,